What's up guys? Earlier this week, unless you weren't paying attention, you probably will have seen Apple's big keynote for October. One of the big updates was the new iPad, including the iPad Air, which I will try to get for review, but no promises. But what was more interesting to me was the MacBook Pro. Back in 2012, when the original Retina Display MacBook Pro came out, I reviewed the 15-inch model over the summer. It was an absolutely fantastic computer, and really the only thing I could fault in it was that it got hot under a full load. Being in the market for a powerful 15-inch computer, I kept a close eye on all the rumors about the new MacBook Pro. And finally, it's here. The only thing is, Apple kind of threw everybody a curveball with it. Basically, the 15-inch model of the MacBook Pro, the Retina MacBook Pro, they discontinued the classic one, it doesn't have a dedicated graphics card. Instead, it has what is called Intel Iris Pro graphics. Essentially, that's this year's move by Intel to try to move away from dedicated graphics cards, and to show that integrated graphics cards that run directly off of the processor, their processor, are just as good as dedicated ones. Now, the question is, are they just as good? Honestly, it's a really important question for consumers. Because of the architecture of the processor, there is no way to upgrade the base model MacBook Pro to have dedicated graphics. For that, you have to go up to the model that starts at $2,599. Of course, with that price, it's not just the graphics card that you're getting. You're also getting double the RAM, a 0.3 GHz processor boost, and double the solid-state storage. But even so, that is a lot of money. As the multitude of tabs back on my computer will probably attest, truth defies simplicity. Basically, nobody's completely sure yet about what Iris Pro is good at, what it's bad at, and how it compares to the dedicated graphics card in the higher-end 15-inch MacBook Pro. Right now, what it's looking like is that Iris Pro is really, really good and actually better than the dedicated graphics at certain tasks. 3D modeling, AutoCAD, probably video production are a few of them. Basically, it's really, really great and incredibly fast at doing single task performance tasks. But when you put it in a gaming environment and it has to render hundreds of thousands, probably, I don't know, millions of polygons simultaneously, parallel processing, that seems to be where it starts to have some issues. Now, that's not to say it's a bad gaming chip. If you're a casual gamer, you don't care about particularly high resolutions, and you don't need 60 frames per second constantly, and, I don't know, ultra graphics settings. It copes pretty well, but it's not going to be as good as a fully dedicated graphics card. Now, here's a disclaimer. I am not an expert in reading benchmarks. I'm not really an expert in processor or graphics card processor architecture. I could be wrong about certain things in here, and if you know more than I do, feel free to correct me in the comments. But essentially what it's looking like here is that no matter how many benchmarks we run, we really need to actually see some real-world data about how it performs in games, how it performs in other various pieces of software. Now, I'm not 100% sure which model I'm going to go with, since this is not only for review on this channel, but for my own personal use. But I think I'm heading more towards the base level with the Iris Pro graphics. So I should be putting in an order for whatever I get within the next week here, and then I will have a review in which I will cover all of this to hopefully a more satisfactory extent in the next few weeks after that. Make sure to stay tuned.